1 in 4 women go through this. Hey everyone, so I have been promising this video since I started YouTube again, and I have filmed it about 3 times, I think. This is my 4th time trying to film it. It's a hard one to film, and then so I decided to take all of my emotion out of it, and then I was editing that one and I was like, no, that's not the point of this video. This is a 2-part video. The first part is about our losses, and the second part is going to be the beginning of this pregnancy. I wanted to do this video because too many people feel like they can't talk about it, and that just bothers me. People go through this every single day and they feel like they can't talk about it, and I think that causes more problem when you're going through it if you can't talk about it. In the past 1.5 years, so since September of 2016, we've experienced 3 losses. We experienced our first one at 8 weeks, our second one was right away, and then our third one was at around 11 weeks. And I get a little emotional talking about it. From when the first one happened in September 2016 until a little bit after the third one, which was May of 2017, was the worst time of my life. In August of last year, we found out we were pregnant with baby number 2, and we were over the moon, like so excited. We had no problems with Ryder's pregnancy, so there was nothing to worry about. We were just so excited. We told people, we told Ryder. There was just no worry in my mind that anything could possibly go wrong. And then we went in for the first ultrasound at about 8 weeks along, and we brought Ryder and my sister, who was 14 at the time, went in for the first ultrasound. So she wasn't saying anything. She did an abdominal ultrasound, and then she did the transvaginal ultrasound and looked at me and said, you might want to have your sister take the little one out of the room. And in that moment, I just crumbled. I didn't think it would happen to me. Like, you never think that's going to happen to you. You don't think bad things are going to happen to you. I had a D&C 2 days later, and I didn't know how to handle it. And nobody in my family that I knew of had ever experienced it. So there was no one to talk to about it. And people in my life tried to help and tried to be there for me, but didn't understand and didn't fully know how to be there for me. I went into a pretty deep depression. You know that it's not your fault and that you did nothing wrong, but you still wonder what you could have done different, even though you know that there's nothing you could have done different. We handled our grief very differently. Tyler didn't want to talk about it. He wanted to pretend it never happened. I wanted somebody to talk to, and I wanted to talk to him because he went through it with me, and he's my partner, like he's my everything, and I wanted him to be the one I could talk to, and I couldn't talk to him. And it was frustrating. Like, he didn't want to talk about it. He just wanted to forget about it. And I couldn't. I needed to talk about it. And we just handled our grief differently, and that's fine. Like, I handled it my way. He handled it his way. But we couldn't figure out how to handle it together. So it pushed us apart. And we found out we were pregnant in November on a Monday. And because I had the previous loss, they wanted to test my levels, make sure that they were rising in the right way. I got my blood work done on Monday. Tuesday, they called me. I was pregnant. Wednesday, I went back to do it again. Thursday, they called me, and when I answered the phone, you could just hear in her voice that it wasn't good news. And she said that the levels had gone down instead of up, and I hit the floor. And I wasn't attached, so I don't want to say that I wasn't sad about that baby, because obviously I was. I couldn't believe it was happening again. I had a perfectly healthy 4-year-old boy. Why was this happening? Because it was so fast, they told me that it's what they call a chemical pregnancy, and that it would take care of itself. And basically, it would be like I got my period late. So for the next couple months, Tyler and my relationship went downhill. It kind of turned into a few months where we were just roommates living in the same house. We took care of Ryder, we did what we had to do, but we weren't a team anymore. And that, even now, it scares me. Like, thinking back, like, we almost didn't make it. And we had just bought a house together, and we had been together for 6 years, had a child, wanted to get married, like, all these things, and we were crashing down. And it wasn't either of our faults. It was we didn't know how to handle it. I would say right after the new year, I kind of started to come out of my cloud that was hanging over me and realized this is not what I want life to be. And I want to be with Tyler. I want to have a family. I want us to be us again. So my first steps were I took care of myself. I went back to church. I went to see a therapist, and I worked through my grief my way. I needed to work through it my way to be able to take care of myself. And then I slowly started to work through things with Tyler. We started talking more and just worked through it. So then in March of 2017, we found out we were pregnant again. And I couldn't get attached. I didn't want to think of it happening. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want to become attached and lose it again. We had our first appointment in April, the end of April, and we went in for the ultrasound, and they showed us a heartbeat, and I immediately felt this huge weight lifted off my chest. Everything was good. We got happy. We got excited because I thought it happened twice. It's not going to happen a third time. And I just saw a heartbeat. Like, we're fine. We're good. This is great. I got attached. We announced to our family on Mother's Day and told Ryder. And then I went in for the 11-week ultrasound, and I went by myself. And I laid down, I looked at the screen, and I was like, that is not an 11-week baby. And she told me that there was no heartbeat, and I just couldn't believe that it was happening again. I think the hardest part about it was I got Ryder excited 3 times that he was going to be a brother, because I don't know, like, the first time we didn't think about it. We didn't think anything was going to happen. And then the second time, I didn't think it would happen again. And then the third time, we waited until after that ultrasound, and we were like, okay, we're good. And I was like, I have to go home and tell my 4-year-old child again that our baby went to heaven. And I just don't like disappointing him, because he is my world. And so I had a D&C again, and then I went in for my 6-week checkup. They had done testing at that point, and it was a partial molar pregnancy. And I still can't fully grasp what a partial molar pregnancy is. I've done so much research, and there's just, I don't know, I couldn't fully understand what it was. But the thing with a partial molar pregnancy is they have to do testing to make sure that they got everything. Because if they don't, and they leave even one cell behind, that cell could grow itself back and come back as cancer. So they told me I had to come in regularly for blood tests to make sure my levels weren't rising back up, and I couldn't get pregnant for 6 months. And at this point, I was okay with that because I never wanted to be pregnant again. I did not want to feel the way I was feeling again, and I did not want to do that to Ryder again. And I was like, well, I'm not getting pregnant again, so it doesn't matter. If you follow me on Instagram throughout our break from YouTube, I was very open about my losses. Me personally, I did not want to forget them, the babies. I consider them babies. They're in heaven. They're our children. I didn't want to forget that time of our lives. I went through hell, and I survived. My family went through hell, and we survived. Tyler and I easily could have been like, we're selling the house, we're not working through this, we're done. And we didn't. There's a period of time where we thought about it, but we didn't. We worked at it. We worked at us. It bothers me that people feel like they can't talk about it, that it's such a taboo topic, that one in 4 women go through this. So why do we pretend like it doesn't happen? I don't understand that part. And for some women go through it and move on and can do that, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Some women can't. Some women want to talk about it. Some women want to remember their babies. Some women just, I don't know, everybody handles it differently, and there's no wrong way to handle it. Unless you are actually physically hurting yourself, there's no wrong way to handle it, and people shouldn't tell you that you're not handling it right. On the due date of our second baby, I went and had this tattoo done. It's the mom and the dad bird looking down at their little bird, and that little bird is looking up at the 3 birds flying away. I did this for our losses, but also for our family, because I wanted to be reminded of every day that I made it through the worst period of my life. So yeah, look for part 2 of this video. That will explain the pregnancy that I'm currently going through. Bye guys.